Y'all tuned in to the OETKB podcast, so we old enough to know better and young enough to not give a... Hold on. We got company. We got company. I feel like we need to be on our best behavior. Just a little bit. We ain't gotta... We ain't... You just... That's all it is. RESPEC. ESPN, ABC. Look, man, we got some very, very, very important people with us. Guys, a little bit of distinguished, a little bit of prestige. First and foremost, I want to extend a branch of gratitude because these gentlemen have been sitting with us for, quite a little while. A little while. We been in here wiping off enough sweat and ran through all the water I had and all that. But I don't know how I want to start the podcast because do I go off and just tell them, I'm gonna answer my own question. I think who you gentlemen are, is, as men, for me, is more important than what y'all do. So I will introduce y'all accordingly, or y'all have y'all introduce yourselves accordingly. So it's on y'all right now.
All right, so I'm Officer Junius with the Prairie View A&M University Police Department.
Ooh, he ain't wasting no time. He said officer.
What's the place with the chopped beef sandwiches?
Waller County line.
Okay.
Actually, we just opened up a new place in Hempstead too. Yeah, so another little spot. But no, man, I'm good. I'm happy to be on the show. Usually, as a police officer, the first thing to do when we come make contact is run your identification. So we could have ran your identification to start off.
Okay. All right.
It's up to first. That's good. That's great.
I respect that. Do we need a drum roll?
No, we good.
Yeah,
no, we need a drum roll.
Let's get it then.
Oh man.
Right. I'm Lieutenant Cedric Collier, Harris County Sheriff's Office. From Acres Home, born, raised, and still live there.
Yeah.
Glad to be here, guys. Looking forward to having some good dialogue and maybe making a few changes.
Hey man, let's see what we can do.
It's on me?
I
appreciate it. Officer Purdy, Houston Police Department, HPD. Born and raised Acres Home. Been on for a little less than a year. Can't wait to hit that mark. I've known about this podcast for a while. Been talking about this podcast for a while, and especially this episode. So I'm eager to do it and get started.
And so he just, I think for everybody that's close in proximity to me, they hear me talk about the podcast a lot, even though I haven't even released anything. And you probably see this after you've seen and heard a bunch of episodes. But I've had this vision for quite some time. I wanted to sit down with a couple of officers and, engage in dialogue. Ironically enough, as much as I've seen this, I didn't have like a set of questions I wanted to ask. I didn't have like a go-to hot button topic I wanted to address. I kind of wanted as much conversation to happen organically and genuinely as possible. So that's where we at now. Anybody want to, before I dive in, y'all ain't said nothing.
I have. I've been giving you ad-libs. Mad ad-libs.
Okay, I'll start off with how, the why. What's the what behind your why? Or I don't know. Is that how you ask that question? The what behind the why?
Sounds good.
Y'all give a deal on that.
The reason why I wanted to be a police officer is a lot of people is not educated about the law, and being in a family that's all education, they teach you. You got to start somewhere to be somewhere. And so as my police officer, my duties is for me is more to educate, because a lot of people don't know the law. They think they know the law.
Because me or somebody else, or they heard us say something on a podcast, and they was like, OETKB, they know what they talking about.
And they don't know that the law do change.
Yeah.
So some people is still going off what happened in the 90s, and we're in 2019,
totally different.
Totally
I
different.
think whenever they change something, they should just come out with like the Bible. Everybody got access to a Bible. We should have a little book with all our little laws.
It's just
You gotta go look. Yeah, you do have to go
We
look.
have to search it out.
See
But
what
isn't that
he
something
see,
that-
but see what he just said.
He said we got to search it out, but I think
But that's what I was doing.
I think the hardest part about searching it out is you don't know what you're supposed to search. You don't know what you're supposed to search until something happened and you like, oh, that changed?
Not only that, why should we have to search for something like that? Something that could, the law. This is what we live by. These are all the rules we follow. Why do we have to go out and search for something? Shouldn't it be taught? I think that should be something that's probably taught in school.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this: realistically, where would you want this information to be divulged, and would you take heed to it? If they did Channel 8, PBS, we all got it, and the new laws came out on PBS, would you go out and seek that information before it was too late?
No. Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about new laws. I was talking about the laws in general.
But I'm speaking in general as well.
But I mean, with new laws, you have multiple places where you can put it. Social media, you can put it on every TV channel, popular streaming service.
I think that's a valid point as far as I know a lot of precincts are using social media more for better or worse, and I've seen a lot of goofy pictures with the like a couple of like zippies of like little what you call it, roaches, and then they take pictures of it and like $27 and like what they confiscated. I've seen that type of stuff. I feel like if new laws were to start coming about, if we use social media in that way, I think that'll be effective. But today on Facebook, I saw a bunch of laws that rolled out. The brass knuckle thing.
Yeah, that just came out, effective today.
September 1.
Tobacco.
Every year. September 1.
What, September 1 every year?
Every
Yeah,
year.
every
New
year.
law. That's the
New
law.
laws.
Didn't know that.
Every year.
Did not know that.
That's why they
Okay, well, listen what I'm saying. Okay,
So
so
can you speak to that a little bit, just what that means?
every year everything that's taken before the state to the state is revised, updated, changed, kicked out. It rolls out the following September.
Is it based on any kind of statistics or any kind of?
it's a
It
law.
just changes.
No, I'm saying, is it like if we see a bunch of underage kids are getting, or kids we feel like are too young to get tobacco, do we raise the age limit?
There's a
You know what I'm saying?
multitude of reasons
I
that
think-
they changed the law. For instance, people had a lot of concern about the what they call it, vaping.
Yeah.
Juuls.
So now they raised the law to 21. You can't smoke. So those things have been in action in plans for like a couple of years now,
Okay.
but it just took effect this September.
See, that's what I was trying to see, if there was something that led up to them changing it, or is it something that they just saw?
Every law that's written, every rule that's made, something happened.
Is it
So yeah, I'm sure it is, but
Okay.
that causes legislation to look at, hey, maybe this isn't right, maybe this isn't fair.
is it like Schoolhouse Rock when somebody just makes a bill and it really is that still going on? That
Same concept,
yeah.
yeah, same concept.
How much different, what we're dealing with? Is it still the same? Somebody had the thought and presented it, and then it got legs and passed September 1st.
That or they lost a lot of money on a lawsuit.
Okay.
There's a host of things that can happen. You gotta have someone in Austin that's gonna carry it, that's gonna put that bill before Congress and take it to the floor. I'm sorry. And if you don't have that connection, then they stall it. Otherwise, it just sits there and sits there. But it's all about making connections, someone pushing it, people signing petitions like the Prop B persons. That was started here in Houston, had get signatures and all that kind of stuff. And it was put on the ballot to be voted on. Of course, it passed, and now we know where we are with that. But yeah, it's not just let's write a letter and change
So
it.
petitions actually do have some
Oh, yes.
some effect on. Okay.
Petitions are voters.
Okay, and so with that being said, I think for me, some of it I knew, most of it I didn't out of this last couple of minutes of conversation we just had, but that really just takes a lot of the imagination and like thinking laws are bigger than us. It seems as if a lot of this stuff is tangible, right? You would
It's
say
very
more or less?
tangible. It's there. You say where do we put it? It's on social media. It's on the news. It's there. It's there but we just got to be wise enough to read it.
Do you think you would know?
We can't get in the mindset of having it spoon fed to us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between just generations, because your generation was more so like it's really more like the way you consume media was like papers,
like the term
that.
in the books.
Yeah, and so for us, the way we consume things is everything is on my phone. Right. Everything is like it's audio. So I think that is the biggest difference. Is do you feel like it is more on us to go look for it, or is it more on, I guess, your side to bring it to us in a different way? That way we can receive it better.
Well, I'll answer. So we've gotten spoiled as a people, and we want things brought to us. It's almost like a sense of entitlement. But with that being said, we have to also do our part.
All right, so we in Houston, melting pot of America. Some of everybody and everything here. I have a friend that's Hispanic. ESL, English was his second language. And we're talking one day, and I asked him, hey man, when you think to yourself, and the words not coming out of your mouth and just, in your head, what's that man, is he speaking English or Spanish? And he looked at me kind of funny. And he was like, what? I'm like, serious, when you thinking to yourself, what language is coming out? And that's what I'm going to ask you, but is that the cop voice that's speaking to you, or is that still said from Acres Home?
She said from Acres Home.
How on TV when they have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other one?
Yeah.
So like you have that battle? Like,
not really. I don't.
It's not.
That's why I answered so quickly.
Yeah.
Because you got to know where you are with yourself. Discretion is really community policing when you talk about law enforcement. And we're servants. I don't care how you cut it up, we're servants. I don't care what rank you get. You're still a public servant.
Same thing when I was asking about coverage.
So when you're a servant, you're there to serve. I'm not saying belittle yourself or anything, but you're trying to find out what the issue is. Why am I here in your business?
Yeah.
And I got to find that out in just a short amount of time. So if it's a red light, is there any reason why you're in that red light? Did you not see it? Were you distracted? Were you trying to avoid an accident? That first in action is very important. If on the flip side of that, why did you stop me this time? Or that is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Or you arrive at somebody's house, you ask them, hey, is anything going on? Well, you hear something must be going on. So that tells you they're setting the stage.
Yeah.
Dialogue is everything. That first interaction, that first hello, that greeting is answering a lot of questions in the back of a cop's mind. They're just getting there. This is your situation. This is your household. This is your business. So the dialogue, it may not be meaningful in one aspect, but in our world, we're filling you out. We're evaluating. We're trying to see what level you're on, so I can apply equal or more if I have to.
Yeah.
But if you're at level 10, I got to get you down here so we can start mediating and working through this thing.
Yeah.
But if you're at level 10, if I go to level 10, we're not getting anywhere. Yeah. Okay. So somebody's got to come in low, and that's 9 times out of 10 it's us. And that's what we're going to take all the profanity, we're going to take the spitting, we're going to take all this for a little bit while, trying to get you down, or trying to see what's going on to where we can operate at a level where we both can agree, if that makes sense.
I got you. That's what you got. I think, and one of the things that I have a question about is the first thing when I get pulled over, right, or I have an interaction with a cop, my initial thought is somewhat of not fear, but it's like a
I don't have to get pulled over. There don't have to be no lights. I can see that little in my rearview, and I like T2. What's the speed limit? Where I'm going?
Well, that's a good thing. But that's no different than, and I'm not saying cops are parents, but if your parent walk in the room, you check yourself.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is conservators of the peace. And they supposed to, when you see an officer, that's why we patrol. We're not patrolling liquor zone, we're patrolling to remind you there's laws and order in this community and you need to abide by them. If that makes sense.
I agree.
It makes sense.
I think I agree so much that I think that the unmarked cars, it's like I don't understand. Like I know what they're there to do, but I feel like if the goal was to keep the peace and that effect that I think we all can relate to. Matter of fact, I'm finna come back to you real quick, what you just told me earlier before we started recording.
You talking about the Ghost Strike cars? It's like Sadoo's.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a whole nother concept because those are coming to play when people won't obey the law in those areas, highways. So we want to be discreet. We want to catch those speeders.
Okay, so that's a counteract.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That makes sense. See, we don't know things.
I could take
Why
that.
you trying to catch me? Like,
I can take that.
I'm shooting my uncle in another little Malibu.
Yeah. So that's what they intended to do.
All right, so Officer Pradia. Ooh, it's a first. You told me before we started you got pulled over. Talk to me about this.
Oh yeah, I got pulled over this morning. Yeah, no, this morning because I work nights, 10 to 6 in the morning, and I don't know, driving all night, big old Tahoes. You gotta put a little gas in them because those things don't get up. And you know, on the way home, I'm going over the speed limit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going over the speed limit trying to make it home, and I see a sheriff getting off the HOV lane on 45, and he just like slows down and then gets behind me, runs my plate. I know what a running plates look like. Then he activates his lights. I'm like, okay, he's pulling me over. Maybe I was going a little too fast.
How was that experience different from when you got pulled over and you wasn't a cop?
So,
Have you never been pulled over and you wasn't even in the Army? Because that's important
okay.
as well.
So that's the thing. I didn't start driving until I was in the Army, and so it's kind of different because like when I yeah, it's kind of different because I'm getting off of duty.
Yeah.
I take off my vest, I take off my top, my gun belts in the back, like all that stuff. And as soon as he gets behind me, I wouldn't say I was scared, but like there's still distinct nervousness. Like, oh man, what did I do? Yeah, man, what did I do? Like, man, what did he catch me doing? But it's not like I'm scared, but like it's still that distinct like nervousness because like, hey, like he said, your parents are watching, and so it's just like, man. And then I was like, I'm a law enforcement officer. I'm getting pulled over. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And so,
embarrassing?
I knew what I was doing. So I knew it wasn't like I wasn't going like 100 or anything. It wasn't crazy. But I was like, okay, let me pull over. I'm not even going to like, hey, here's my ID, here's my badge. Like, give me out this ticket.
When they run your plates, they don't see they can't see.
Nah, there's no thing like when it runs a plate. It's just like goes to your registration, who owns the vehicle, your insurance, all that stuff. It doesn't say, oh yeah, he's a law enforcement officer, or nah. But it goes back to a database. If you got warrants, it's gonna pop. It's gonna, hey, this dude got some warrants, or this guy's wanted. That's gonna pop. But nah, it doesn't.
Y'all, it's what you got for me, bro?
I guess the question I have is, it's kind of going to change the subject, is how do you guys feel about patrolling your own neighborhoods? Do you think it would be beneficial if you had people from the neighborhoods that they're patrolling live there before or be residents of that neighborhood? Does that make sense?
Harris County.
That's
HPD.
I want to start off first because going through the academy, we had about 73 people from like all over America, just different races, different creeds, everything. And the way you pick your stations to go train at, and that's like stations like you're gonna like patrol at, is by your class rank. So you know the highest ranked guys that get to patrol first. So growing up at Acres Home, I was like, I want to go back to North Station. That's Acres Home. That's Station 6. So at the end, I'm getting ranked in the middle because everybody been to college, everybody's smart, killed me on academics. So I'm gonna get ranked in the middle. So the first 10 slots, there's only 7 slots for North Station, Acres Home. First 10 slots, everybody's like, yeah, I want to go to North. I'm like, dang. Why? I'm not going to.
Yeah. Why?
Okay, so the impression of Acres Home is like, hey, when I get out the academy, I want everybody to know that I'm a good cop. I can work. I'm not afraid of work. And
so they
Acres
actually
Home,
are going.
Yeah,
they're not running from the fire.
Yeah, I want to go to Acres Home. So
I respect that.
Yeah, so I can prove that I want to do this. But like, first 10 people look nothing like me. First 10 people grew up nothing like me. First 10 people don't have anything, like we don't have anything in common actually. And like this one girl from Acres Home, another officer, me, we all want to go, but we knew we weren't up there. And so we were asking, like during we had like a whole thing before we picked all our stations. We asked them, why do y'all want to go? And that's what they were saying. And then they were like, oh yeah, I live close. I live in the Spring area. It's the closest station. I can get there fast. And then we're like, so when you get there, what do you expect to find? They're like, oh, we're going to make the community better. So we heard it's pretty bad. Like to me, like going to Acres Home, like I don't think it's. I mean, it's Acres Home, but I don't think it's bad. Like I don't think it's like horrible. And I'm just looking at them. I'm just like, man, like you're gonna go there like with a certain impression. Like, I need to do this. I need to do that. And like people not knowing you, people they come in with the cape on. Like, I need to lay down. Yeah, I need to lay down the law now.
Dun, dun, dun.
As I want to go there, like I want my community, like if I go back, like okay, hey, this dude's from this community. This dude knows the streets. This dude knows me. Like I know him growing up. I think people were like more approachable, but then again, I didn't go to Acres Home. I'm in Northwest, the Spring Branch area. Know nothing about the area. It's all Hispanics. I go there. They don't question me. Are you from this area? So I can see those officers going there, making a good impression, doing the thing, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I first got to the academy. I was like, people from Acres Home should go to Acres Home and try to patrol Acres Home. That was just me, but that was just me just going to the academy and just like.
I agree. I think that's cool with that icebreaker. I think you were talking about earlier when you approach somebody, they start at 10 because they don't know you, they don't know how you look the same. It's the same dynamic. So having that icebreaker, somebody who's from here, somebody that's like a recognizable face, somebody you might know whoever. I think that's great. Just having that some kind of connection to the area that you're in.
Did we ask you your why behind the what?
I always wanted to. Always from like 3-5 years old, and I always pursued it.
So you was always the cop.
Always the cop. Olin was the firefighter. Yeah. I was always the cop. And I've been pulled over, cited, arrested.
What was your first interaction with the police?
I know he said what? Arrest? No. Yeah, but I was riding with a buddy. We had just went to KFC. We got some Popeyes, some popcorn Popeyes.
I was finna say how y'all did that.
And chicken.
How y'all got KFC and Popeyes?
No. So KFC popcorn chicken.
Okay.
And he bought a truck, and the plates. The guy who traded in didn't like the deal. He reported the truck stolen. So it was not a stolen truck, but I was the passenger in it. And we're going down Little York. We got pulled over. I'm laughing because my dad always taught me, don't lie, steal, or cheat. Son, I come get you anywhere but jail. If I have to come get you for jail, you better be right. So that was in my head growing up. Never had any illegal drugs in my system. The worst thing I did was drink beer. But we got pulled over. I think they were a little harsh about the way they handled us. But I laughed through the whole thing because I know it was all a mistake. Took us down on North Shepherd. I'm laughing all the way there, cracking jokes. Because I know, hey, y'all finna let me go. I ain't done nothing. And he ain't done nothing because I know who I'm with.
I've been a smart ass before and got arrested because I was being a smart ass.
Well, I was getting arrested.
Yeah, but I've definitely done that. So with that being said, when we talked about, I think you addressed it as far as like the police putting out certain things as far as we talked about just the laws changing. I've never seen, and the information may be out there, like the do's and don'ts of like a traffic stop, like is that out there? Is there something? Okay.
You can Google it. I mean, it's just a synopsis of what makes an officer comfortable approaching a vehicle.
Okay, so just for the sake of everybody listening, you pulling me over, what you looking for me to get this sent about my way as quick as possible?
Well, guns don't kill. Hands do. If I can't see your hands, I'm concerned.
So where should we have them?
Just on the steering wheel or in plain sight. If it's nighttime, turn on your overheads, your dome light.
Okay.
Inside the car. Roll down your back window in your driver's side. Yeah, roll down the back window so when he's approaching, he can see through the car. If there's someone in the back seat, he can see this. And that's going to give that officer a sense of ease that, hey, this guy's not hiding anything.
Okay.
Pull over, put your turn signal on, put your flashes on, get off the curb so he's not standing in the street. Things like that. You know, if he asks for your ID and insurance, give it to him. Very shortly after that, he's going to let you know why he's stopping you. He or she should. And this isn't a perfect situation. That's the proper way to do it.
I don't want to harp on too much of my experiences. I've been pulled over. I'll talk about 2 instances. One of them, I applaud the gentleman wholeheartedly because I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. I went through a yellow. He said I went through the red. It's like, no, I didn't. So because I was like, oh, he's finna pull me over. He's pulling me over, and it starts. I'm already there.
Yeah.
And this is in the midst of everything that we know, the current media with the relations, and this maybe 2 years ago. So this was well in the heat of everything that we still dealing with today. And he pulls me over. He asks me for my insurance, and I'm like, here's my ID, and I'm looking for my insurance. And I thought I had the wallet thing. It's not in there. I thought I had it in there. I have a copy in my glove compartment, but he's already in the window or at my window. And he's like, where's your insurance? And I'm like, man, I got it here somewhere, or it's in there, but it's too much stuff in there. Like, so much stuff in there. And he's like, what's in there? I was like, I don't know, stuff. Like, that's what I told this man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, stuff. And he's like stepping back, and I reach over, and I just like hit the glove compartment, a bunch of papers and shit fall out. And so like I drove off like I was bugging.
Yeah.
He let me go. He didn't give me a ticket, nothing. And from the moment he said hello to me, I met him with tension. Now, from talking to Officer Pradia, he told me that a bunch of steps have been taken in training and things to offset certain officers, or just for that situation. So I guess HPD, to my knowledge, hasn't had one of those traumatic, like the Choco incident in New York. We haven't yet had to. I don't want to. For the most part, when I look at those things, if y'all know, y'all probably got a tip y'all here. Y'all ain't gonna say it. But for the when I think about the key ones right now, is people from all over the country and not necessarily home yet. So I could give my kudos to Harris County, to HPD. I haven't, and as far as my relations with them of late have been good. Now, my first interaction with the bad one, I felt like I didn't do anything wrong. Again,
9 out of 10. That's what people do.
I was gonna say, I say it like that.
I honestly, I was leaving Garden City late at night. I honestly feel like that's the only reason why I got pulled over. He pulled me over, and I think I'm in the process of moving. So I have everything I own, man. All my belongings are in my car.
Sure.
And everything, all my belongings are in my car. And he pulls me over, and I know I haven't done anything wrong. I've like you, I've never had an illegal substance in my body. Like, it don't smell like nothing. I'm not drinking. You're not gonna find nothing. Can I search the car? Yes, officer. By all means, search the vehicle. He ramsacks my entire car. Like, I got all this stuff that I'm moving. It's everywhere. My back seat. He taking my TV. He running serial numbers on it. He doing everything. And so this, nothing happens. He just sends me on my way. This stuff I'm picking up off the side of the street just from the door being open and the wind blowing. And that, it soured me.
Yeah.
It soured me. And, I mean, luckily it didn't take me into, and I think people like you three they combat that. I think a lot of people have these experiences directly or indirectly where they're sour, they're tainted, and there's nothing to clean their palate. So for me, I got y'all, but for the world, what are we dealing with?
I'm on campus. I'm at Prairie View A&M University. I deal with a lot of students, ranging from the age 17 to they think they grown, like they 40.
But you did too.
Yeah. But what I do is, when I usually pull them over, I have seen them because their parents to tell them what to do. Some of these students' parents tell them what to do. So I had pulled one young lady over. She was trying to beat me to everything. So when I turned the lights on, I seen her reaching and
How does that make you feel?
and going to get stuff. So I'm like, what is she doing? Because she's driving and she haven't pulled over yet, so she reaching. And I'm like, what is she doing? I said, okay, I'm gonna talk to her about that. And walk up to the car, and she had everything ready. You know, the driver license, the insurance. When I got up there, she was just handing it to me. I couldn't even do like, how you doing? I'm officer this with such and such.
So yeah, how do you feel about it?
So what I told her after the stop, I gave her a warning. I ain't give her no ticket for her disregarding the stop sign. I talked to her and I was like, hey, for future reference, I said, anytime a police officer pull you over, just go ahead and pull over. Don't reach for nothing, because to me, I feel like dealing on campus, we deal with a lot of drugs. I don't know if you're trying to hide it, I don't know if you're trying to hide a gun or anything like that. Just go ahead and pull over. Let me see your hands. And that's it. Now, you did everything right by having all your information ready, but what got like my antennas up was the whole movement. Because I could see you went from this to your whole body shifting over, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, but just for future reference, because that's how officers approach the vehicle. At first I was going up there with open hands, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Now on campus, and this is just our rules, we do not just walk up on the car with our hands on the gun, because we're dealing with students, and of course, I'm out there at Waller County, the Sandra Bland. Those students, anytime you pull them over, if they see your hand on any type of your equipment, I can just have my hand resting on my taser. Oh, you gonna do the Sandra Bland? I'm like,
they say that?
Yeah, they will say that. They do the whole Sandra Bland. We hear all that all the time, and that's that. And sometimes I be like, you trying to hide something from me? But I said, no, ma'am. I said, I'm just resting my arm right here, and I said, can I just see your information? But they do the whole. Right now, the whole thing is the UPD is doing too much at Prairie View. Y'all pulling us over for no reason. Y'all doing it because I'm black. We hear that a lot. Yes. But at the end of the day, we there to educate them. Some of them didn't know the designated point line at the stop sign. You get a ticket for that.
So you talked about pulling someone over and reaching.
Mm-hmm.
I have my insurance and license. It's not like in my head. It's in the glove box.
Correct.
So if I reach and go do that, I'm gonna ask you just because you came officer, and maybe 15 years ago, maybe it felt a little different. When someone was reaching like that, was it okay? Maybe they're reaching for something to harm me, opposed to hey, maybe they're just getting their insurance out. You know what I mean? Is it? Do you think that now and like back then maybe you felt? I feel like I just feel like that.
No, you're good. So, like I spoke earlier, that interview starts whenever the traffic infraction happens. Getting behind the traffic stop, your actions, all that is part of the interview. When I mean interview is I'm gauging who I'm dealing with. Never met you before. So is that a bad guy? Did he just hurt somebody? He has a gun. He think I'm stopping him or her because I know that he just killed somebody or he just ran over somebody or whatever. You never know what a person's thinking. Yes, in your mind, you hadn't done anything wrong. In our mind, it's a traffic violation. But
ram of possibilities.
But if it's a bad guy who actually just did something, he's gonna try to hide a gun. He probably know, they saw me leave. Someone called in on me. Now he's gonna stop me. So all that comes into play. All your body gestures, all that is part of the interview. That's gonna get my antennas up. But if you're just sitting there, and I would recommend people to keep their insurance right here on the visor.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the visor.
Or wait until y'all pull them over at the window.
Oh wait.
Pull that stuff
all those overt actions, body movements, that makes you nervous.
Okay.
It makes you nervous, and you just don't know who you're dealing with.
You said that earlier. You said that it's an interview.
It is,
and you would like things to be done to make sure that it's to make you comfortable more so,
yes.
By not reaching, by not doing any movements. Do you feel like it's feasible for you all to do things that would make the citizens feel comfortable? Because when I get pulled over, right, like we all talked about, my intent is just like, what did I do? Do you think it is possible for us to like things for you all to do that make us not always feel that way?
There's a lot of training, we go through a lot of training now. There's an actual law, Sandra Bland law with suicide preventions and suicide awareness and things like that. But how much more can you do on the side of a road within a matter of a couple minutes? We're there for, if there was a traffic violation, it may just be a mistake. It may be a simple, hey, your tail light's out. That may be the only, that he or she may just want to stop and tell your tail light's out. But you can only do so much. At some point, the human part of both of us is going to have to come out. We're going to have to converse to see what's going on. At some point, we just got to stop being so afraid of what this person's thinking, what that person's thinking, and just let's talk and see where there's an issue. It could possibly be a misunderstanding, but I mean, there's no fix to everything. And we talk about a good officer. There's bad, there is, and there's other folks who don't want to be called out for what they've done wrong. But at some point, you have to meet in the middle. And as far as the initial interaction with the officer, they ask for your license and your insurance first. Because let's say that you don't think you ran that light. Now, if he tell you ran a red light, how fast are you going to give him your driver's license and insurance? It's going to be a whole another conversation.
Yeah.
So let's get that first, and then we can figure out where we're going to go from there. If it's a warning, warning citation, a verbal warning, or whatever. But they have to get that information first to see who you are. They don't know if they're dealing with someone that's wanted for murder. But if I tell you, hey, I stopped you from running a red light, you're not going to get it's. You're going to be real hesitant to give me your ID and your insurance. But if I tell you, hey, I need to see your license and insurance, and then I'll explain to you why this traffic stop occurred, you may speed up just a little bit.
Yeah, I think some people are trained to go ahead and have your license and insurance.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
That's why I asked about the region thing, because I do that.
I know the podcast, what you guys are saying is insightful as far as the people thinking like, okay, what do I do when I'm, pulled over? But do you guys share that with the people that you know, loved ones, family, friends? Do you guys tell them like, hey, when you pulled over, boom, 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 you give them so that's something that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't have court on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to happen on the side of the road. Nothing good is going to happen out there. Let's just get through this. You may agree to disagree, but let's do it in a courtroom instead of on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Nothing's good. If a person's dead set on giving you a ticket, you're going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
But it's just a citation. It's better being a standard for that whatever minor traffic violation. They can really inconvenience you. But let's just get through that and move on, and then deal with it in court.
I would hate for somebody, but ignorance is an excuse, or so I would like for people to be educated as possible. But realistically, like you said, it's a Google away to know what to do at the stops. I've always thought that. Never Googled it. I've never looked for it. I've never.
That's why on Facebook they have that share button.
Yeah.
I seen it today with the whole new laws. I think you started off with it.
I thought it was,
and then I seen some of our classmates, they kept sharing. They kept sharing. It was like, oh, this is real interesting. But this ain't the first time, since I've been on Facebook and as a police officer, that's the first time I seen somebody on September 1st. In general.
I didn't know.
Sharing. Because actually last year they changed the law with something else.
I didn't know that.
So with the whole carrying your knives, you can carry machete out. But nobody reposts that. The only thing people post is when an officer get in trouble, and that's another thing too. When you're an officer, even though we doing our job, you have officers that do their jobs. But in another state, when an officer mess up, we all take the heat. We all in the blue. So that's just another thing being a police officer.
And I said this off camera, and I think I told everybody before it started. I think the main reason why I wanted to do this podcast is because I identify with police, with the good cops a lot. Like you just said, when something happens, it could have happened in Boise, Idaho. Is it not in Idaho, Boise? I don't know. I don't know what Boise is. I know the turf blue. That's all I know.
Oh, you talking about Boise?
That's all I know. But whatever happens out there, you guys are all responsible for it. I feel like as a black man, there's certain stigmas, stereotypes, right, wrong, or indifferent that comes with being that, and it could be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 100, but I fall in that 100, and I gotta wear that every single day. I know you guys are respectable, honorable men, but I know when something goes left, you have to wear that. Yeah. I identify with that. Now, granted, we all sitting here black, so there's a different connection. But outside of that, this obvious thing that is a bunch of black guys sitting there, like, I understand what it's like to look or see something crazy that happened in law enforcement in the country, and I instantly think of y'all. Like, I'm gonna say this. How's that affecting y'all?
It's all about, like, and I'm gonna repeat this every time, and that's the reason why I got into it. Education. So my wife is a school teacher. What is the weakest link for a man? Answer that.
Weakest link for a man?
You ain't got no strong woman?
Woman, and then another thing is we don't like to read. Yeah. We don't like to read. But the only time we read something is when something happens. So as men, because the women gonna do it. That's why women always voice their opinion. And then when you see something going down, just look at the comments. The men are saying something real short, but the women are putting their whole heart into it. When you read some of them comments, you be like, man, that do make sense. And now I'm changing my whole point of view about this. Then when I see a guy coming, I'm like, dude, you just you right now. But if we can just, as men or just as a black community, just continue to educate ourselves and just read, just like you said, the updated laws, and just read. Anytime we see that ESPN on Facebook, the Astros won the World Series, what we do? We click on it, and then we want to read all the stats. We want to read it. So why can't as a community do that with the law? I'm not saying you got to read the whole book. Just try to obtain. But then you have some people that actually do that, and then when you get on the traffic stop, they want to tell you. It's the PC, this and that, the penal code. I'm like, okay, you might be right, but you did it. So, let me see your ID.
So, before we started, me and Sed was sitting and we were talking. I'm sorry, officer.
It's all good. It's all good.
I don't know.
That's when you know.
I don't know.
We still the same, man. Don't let the title. So that's the thing. When people become officers and then you got family members,
before I double back. How has it's easy for me to ask you, have you changed? I want to see how the people around you changed since you became a cop.
Nothing. The only thing is now you get more questions.
Which is good because you
just get more questions.
You get to educate, right?
And they want to ask, what should I do, and what if this happened? Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still considered as a rookie. I don't have all the answers. So if I don't know the answer, I'm just not gonna pull nothing out of nowhere, out of dry air, and just feed you some information and it be wrong. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people are still throwing people under the bus. I tell you, ask me, what should I do, blah, blah, with this, and then I tell you something, but it was wrong. Then you get on the traffic stop. Well, my Kimfo worked for such and such for PV, and you give him my whole information. Yeah. He said this, because at the end of the day, we as police officers, we network with all this training. I might run into that police officer. I be sitting there doing my introduction. I'm such and such. And then during break, hey man, you that guy that I heard somebody said that you did. And you look at him. So at the end of the day, education. Because we still have to educate ourselves because the law.
I think right now I'm trying to get tidbits because I know we gotta have something to pull from. All this. I think that September 1st was like, what? I didn't know that. I think everybody has mentioned rolling down that window. What else you think that's? I think the dialogue in general has been really good, and I know we ain't went like crazy or nothing like that. But kudos to you because you was ready for all the foolishness. You was like, I know y'all gonna come in here and ask me this much crazy stuff. He was like, no, bring it. He said, bring it. I was like, I really don't. That's not what it's about for me because I think I'd rather somebody see what we done today and take whatever tidbit. So me personally, I think that the window was important. I think that I've done the thing where I've started moving around before I've been pulled over. It may look like I was hiding something. I've done that. I didn't know that every September 1st that the new legislation rolled out. What else do you think that just for like a PSA? Not saying you got to speak for everything and everybody, but just that you feel like people should know
when it comes to the traffic stop?
Just anything.
Yeah, you can give us some traffic or just dealing with police in general.
Put yourself in the officer's place.
I
mean, and I was telling you earlier, at any given point, every officer you see is willing to die for you. That's what they sworn to do. Lay down their life for you. That's big.
Yeah.
They only have one.
I don't know, one of my cousins that want to do that.
They only got one. So you call the officer at 3, 4 in the morning, someone's in my backyard. He's going.
Yeah.
Or she's going. I couldn't get one of you guys to say, hey man, it's a guy back there with a gun. Y'all ain't going back there.
I'm gonna say,
I see them.
Yeah, exactly.
2 minutes ago, I was gonna see.
So, yeah, they've taken an oath, and just put yourself in their place for a minute. Approaching a car you don't know, a person you don't know, let's say 4 or 5 people you don't know.
Yeah.
Walking up to that car, what would make you feel safe? I mean, having you walk out, having you be still. I mean, at some point we're just human.
Yeah. And some people don't like the police, police officers.
And I don't feel like we're gonna change.
Huh?
Did you ever feel that way before you became a police officer?
That's a good question.
People didn't.
How you felt about the police before you were?
Oh,
Yeah. What was your perception of police growing up?
me growing up, it was more of I was always surrounded by the good cops. So when you get nothing but, I'm gonna say this: ain't nobody gonna tell you they're a bad cop.
Yeah.
I don't really nobody's gonna sit and say, "Oh, I'm a bad cop," because at the end of the day, you gonna your job is on the line, and so I don't think nobody gonna say that they a bad cop. But it just goes off who you are. Everybody police different. Me, I'm more of a comedian. I wasn't a comedian in school, but you know when we was going in on each other, capping on each other, making jokes about each other. I try to make my stops almost like that. When you speeding, going over 20 miles per hour, I'm like, hey, where you going? You ain't going nowhere. Or when they nervous, and I know when people nervous too, when I ask for the ID.
Every time.
And then and what I do is I'll watch you for a couple of seconds so you can see yourself being nervous, and then I'll grab your ID and I'll say, ma'am or sir, are you nervous? Yes. Why? I've never been pulled over. Okay, let's do this. Take a deep breath and just relax. I said, this is the reason why you would stop, and is there a reason why? They give me my reason, then I say, well, just sit tight for me and I'll be right back. I try not to make it uncomfortable. I go back to my patrol car. I try not to do the whole, it just depends where I'm at, if I'm where we at on the highway. But I go back in my patrol car and come back, and they comfortable now. Now, because I'm on campus, we write everything out. Warnings, verbal warnings, a citation. So when they see their ticket, oh, I gotta pay a ticket. And I'm like, let me get to it. You get a warning, just try to slow down and go from there. That's it. I gave people speeding over, 25 a warning. And at the end of the day, they should have been getting a citation. But at the end of the day, I try to make you feel comfortable, because like we say, we don't know you. We don't know if you just committed a crime. So you just have to keep that cool when you're dealing with people, because level like a volume 5 can go to like a 20 in a heartbeat when you're dealing with people. And we don't know you, but y'all know us, because every time I pull people over, they be like, oh, Officer Junius. Well, I don't know you, so I can't say your name. So can I please have your ID? That whole yes sir and yes ma'am and all, it's more of just your tone. You can say yes, I'm fine with that. Or you can say yes sir if you want to, that's fine, I'm fine with that. But I'm not, because I know some officers are really big on it. I watch Live PD, I don't know if y'all watch that. On some of their approaches, it's just like they come with it, well, I'm gonna need your ID now.
So
that's the first approach. And I'm like, you even asked what I need for the first time.
Before we started and it's really just the natural progression of our conversations. Me and we were talking, and he said something about, you're gonna ask about the code of silence. I was like, whoa, what code of silence? And so can you talk? I don't know if you can remember verbatim what you said.
There is no blue line or code of silence. It's right and wrong.
And then you said something else that stuck with me, and I was like, I believe him.
What part?
When you start talking about you had to take
I worked internal affairs, and I filed charges on guys that were friends of mine. It is what it is. There's no discretion there. Dealing with another officer or a civilian. Some things fall in a gray area, can go either way. But at some point when you hit that line, there is no conversation about which route we're taking. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we all been at somewhere in our lives where we at this point to where you can't turn back, or I really messed this up, and that's where it's at. Some things you can talk about, you can give a verbal warning, you can give a warning, but then there's other things. It is what it is.
So when you see everything the way we see it, and I know it's situations and instances where y'all are privy to that happen, like you said, across the country, and it be whether it be brutality or whatever, a misstep with another officer. However, how does that affect you? I'll just say I'll narrow it down, the brutality. And when you see people that look like you that seem to be more heavily victim of it, how do you navigate in that world?
First of all, you're getting shown a film. So what comes to my mind is what's happening a few minutes before that. What led up to that point. Now, during that film, if you're still seeing the aggression and there's multiple people there, and it's not stopping, that's an issue.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say media. They have this. They want ratings.
Yeah.
And to get ratings is to show corruption, and it's not to that point to where the police industry is bad. I mean, we are the defining line between bad and evil. I know that sounds cliche, but we're it.
Yeah.
You take the baddest guy on the road, on the streets, the worst drug dealer you ever known of. At some point, when he's in trouble, he's gonna call the police, right or wrong.
Yeah.
I got a question. So based on what you said that, you see a film and he asks about police brutality, do you all honestly believe there is truly police brutality geared towards the African American community or towards minorities? Do you believe that it really exists? Or do you believe that it's the media that's cultivating this?
Brutality is brutality, regardless of what race it's focused on. I mean, it doesn't matter which race. But unfortunately, us being hit, I say blacks, being hit by a white officer is ratings. That's just cut and dry. It happens, force is used on every race there is. But if it's black on black, you may not see it. If it's black on white, you may not see it. But if it's white on black, or white on Hispanic, or whatever. It's depending what's going on in the world, and God forbid if if there is like just I'm not going there, but if there's like something going on in the Middle Eastern culture, and then you have some type of issue there, that's going to be the hot topic of the day. It's driven. I mean that hate, that those ratings are driven off of people's interests, unfortunately, and we get caught up in it. It's wrong. The black community should be upset when a young black man is murdered by an officer, but they should also be upset and just as mad when a black young man is murdered by another black young man. That's what gets me puzzled so much. So I've seen it. We've had an officer-involved shooting. And rightfully so, we should be upset. if it's not right.
Yeah.
If it's not right. But the following day, you have an African American young man murdered, and it's nothing.
Nothing.
That's what gets my juices going. And the way we change that is we flood the police market with good people. I constantly recruit. If you notice, I've been recruiting him all day. But I constantly recruit folks that have the right mindset to do this business. Because when I'm gone in 5 or 6 years, I want someone coming behind me that's going to stand for what's right, regardless if you're standing alone. And that's important. It doesn't matter if it's white, black, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. Good people is good people, and bad is bad. It's just police work, right and wrong. It's not science. It's nothing new. It's right and wrong. You done this is what the consequences are. You done that, this is what the consequences are. You did this, let's not do that again. You get a warning. So it's not rocket science. It's just doing the right thing all the time. And the way you do that is get good people to sign up for the job. I mean, we will get out there and protest, and you can't get not one person to sign up to do the job. But they can tell you everything that you've done wrong without having a full story. Don't go off a soundbite in the media and say, I saw it with my own eyes. What happened prior to that? What happened? How bad was that officer? How much abuse did that officer take? How many licks did he take before he hit back? You know, you have to take all that into consideration, all of it.
And y'all have training to deal with situations like that, training and protocol. What is the correct way to de-escalate a situation like that? If someone charging at you, they're not on. Because it's a right. If there's a time to kill someone as a police officer, there's a time to actually take a life.
We're not gonna say kill.
I'm sorry.
We stop the aggression.
To stop the aggression.
No one wants to kill anybody.
But I'll say neutralize. Is that a better word?
To stop the aggression.
Stop the aggression. Okay.
The neutralize. Target neutralize. Jesus Christ.
I'm using that as an example.
You have to know yourself. And if y'all want to answer, y'all jump in there.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. So you have to know yourself. In today's society, a lot of officers, I'm just going to say, they hadn't been in a fist fight.
I was just gonna go there.
So I've been in fights. I've won some and I lost some. And you're going to know I'm there. And I can fight you long enough till the cavalry gets there. So I don't mind getting a few cuts and bruises. I think sometimes we go too fast to tasers and all these kind of things. But and I'll tell you, a person that's on certain types of drugs, taser's not going to work.
Yeah.
Bullets won't work. They're in a whole nother world. LSD, you can't fight that person. Folks that's suffering from mental illness, they have strength you wouldn't believe. But if they're charging at you with a weapon or something, I mean, at some point you got to defend yourself. I mean, you signed up for a job, but you didn't sign up to die. This isn't
so
war.
funny you say that. Was it the last time we recorded our podcast, we were speaking on, I don't know how we got there, but there was a question asked that the circumstances that we grew up in or experiences that we had that aren't ideal, but ended up making us better people.
Yeah.
And the fact that you brought up the officer never getting into a fight, and it's where if something crazy was to happen, I probably have an unhealthy amount of calm in me,
right,
just because it's almost second nature in a sense. And I don't want to say that makes a good officer, but I definitely feel like having that attribute and having some adversity, whether it be that fist fight or arguments, I don't know, and I don't know if you can train somebody with certain life experiences.
You can't.
And
you can give them that PT time in the gym and wrestle and do the red man and all that stuff, but that's why they give them tasers and asp and pepper spray to counter the physical part of law enforcement, and which is big.
You don't know what that person can do.
Yeah.
You got jitsu, you got karate, you
MMA,
you know, so you don't know what this person got.
You start at a lower level. You meet their level of aggression with your level, maybe a step higher. You're not supposed to fist fight. You're not supposed to.
No.
No, fist fight with you.
No,
Hey, a cop act told me you gonna fist fight some bum on the street and catch something, and I was like, "You right? I ain't catching shit.
If y'all were okay, I want to take this. I have to take this person in, and I want to take them in without using any weapons. Y'all couldn't.
Well, you use striking points. You hit muscles to gain compliance.
Okay.
Holes or things like that. But you don't physically fist fight. That's against policy.
That's why we have.
See, hey, all right, September 1st, roll down your windows.
Yeah.
No fist fighting.
I'm not saying you won't get into a fist fight, but
Right.
it may end up being a fist fight. But we don't encourage fist
what
fighting.
those two
But
is
y'all can
called.
defend yourself with your hand.
And I would
Yes.
I would like y'all to. I wouldn't want to ever see. Let's just be frank. Social media is where everybody gets their news. I'm not trying to see your face on no damn
put this
article.
at this point
He just
too.
took it.
Yeah.
And like he was saying.
No, that's not what we
We're
want
almost
from.
like parents.
Yeah.
When your mom went to go get the belt, you wanted to comply, right? Oh no, mama, I don't want no whooping. Sometimes you don't have to be so quick to grab. Well, we don't have to be so quick to grab our taser. I can get my baton, and as soon as I'm good.
Yeah.
Cause it might hit something. Oh, my mom used to whoop me, with a lamp. That ain't no joke. So that's why it's called. That's why we have less lethal. No, but yeah, no fist fight. Cause it's been sometimes where people say if it wasn't for that gun and badge, you wouldn't catch these hands. And like
It's just legally, I can't.
It's not a good look.
it's not a good look. Yeah, it's not a good look. You posting up with a guy talking about. Come on.
I'm gonna take my belt off and lock it in the car.
No, we don't do that.
Nah,
We don't do that.
I'm not going there. So.
But like I said, I think that's really good information because just being on social media and like you said, that's where a lot of people get their news from. That's one of the biggest comments that you will see is like, oh, if it wasn't for that gun, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think people knowing that, hey, part of their policy is not to fist fight you, that kind of will help alleviate some of those things of why you don't see. Why don't they just score up with them? Or why won't they just fight them? Why they got to reach for a takedown?
Sometimes it goes there. It goes there. I mean, you have to defend yourself, but you have to know your limits.
I saw a video. It appeared to be in a bodega. Oh, matter of fact, it was a NFL player. He got pulled over. It was snow everywhere. Have y'all seen this video? I don't know. It was. He's not in the NFL no more. He was like really good, drafted late because of disciplinary reasons, and boom, like sure enough, he get pulled over by the cop for going. He was like speeding in the snow. Have you seen this video?
No, I haven't seen it.
And I don't know who this officer is. I don't know where they were, but he needs a medal because the guy's 6'4", NFL shape, beat his ass, and he did not kill him. I thought I was getting ready to watch murder. I thought I was getting ready to watch murder. And I'm not judge and jury. I'm not God. But I'm not going to say it was warranted or nothing like that. But he showed amazing restraints. And I can guarantee you that video, if you compare the views, and I'm not, trying to take up for these guys, but to the point you were making as far as the media and the ratings, if you was to compare those two videos, I guarantee you we talking about 10 times, 20 times less of this officer doing an amazing job in preserving life as opposed to when something went left. That's what we click on. And you may not want to hear it, but I think it's the ugly truth. Yeah. So as far as the propaganda side of it, I think there is a certain truth in that.
When you lose composure, you lose power.
Yeah.
When you lose composure, you get that person and get you to 10.
And it was power. It was a little guy. Oh. He was a small officer. And
the should have went up in the guy head.
It was like I think he was like a defensive end, He was a big ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure. I hope you guys go watch this video, and then our listeners go see this as well. sometimes, it goes in our favor. And for me, I just want, my goal is to give, I don't know how often you guys will get to say your piece or show that you're not a good cop, or I guess humanize the best that I can. I can say, somebody could believe there's good officers out there. I feel like today they have 3 faces to go with that. At least that's what I'm trying to, accomplish. But my goal isn't to sit you guys down. And I know somebody out there thinking we ain't asking the tough questions. That's not my goal. Isn't to come here and have you guys you guys aren't the people, these bad cops. So I don't want to hold you accountable for those actions, because if I did that, I would be no better than the world I live in, the society I face, to where I deal with certain stereotypes as a black man. And I think that's important for me to say, simply because I think we lose sight of that thing. I never want to be on the outside looking in or the inside looking out. I'd much rather be in the middle, consuming everything as much as I can. So that's just my stance on it. Anybody, do you guys got any questions for us?
I'll say this. So when these discussions happen, you all need to be at the table. There's an old saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that's deep.
Hey, I didn't know that was an old saying. I you listening to that rap music.
You're on the menu. So you need to be a part of these things that's happening. And don't listen to what people are saying. Judge them by the actions. And I think each one of us, me, myself, mostly, I'm obligated to be here. That's why when I was asked, I'm going to move some things around, I'm going to be there. I think I have an obligation to everybody, but mainly young black men that don't understand what it takes to do this job. And I encourage every one of them to sign up. And anybody, sign up and do the work. It's not hard. It's just a good way to serve people. And it's honorable.
So, I guess that would goes without saying. You are an advocate. You would encourage. You would.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You recruiting. How often do you recruit? Just see a guy?
All the time. I like to talk to people. I mean, it don't have to be about recruiting. Just I'm the person. I'm going to speak to the janitor.
Yeah.
The housekeeper.
And I believe him.
I'm going to talk to them. I'm not going to let them walk in the room and grab the bag and walk out without saying, hey, good morning, or I got it. Hey, let me tie it up. I'll put the liner back. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Or everybody in the room is important, and everybody brings something to the table. But just got to be human, and you have to be compassionate and respectful of everyone's opinion and their beliefs and what they stand for. I think if we all did that, we'll be a better people as a whole.
Gentlemen, what y'all got for these guys? Where we at on time?
I love this. 8 or 9 years ago, I would not encourage any black person to be a police officer at all.
Why is that ironic?
It's not.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Why is that ironic? I don't know.
Because my father's a police officer.
Oh, okay.
He worked with HPD. He worked for 3rd Ward. He's been a police officer 27 years.
Good.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I see everything happening in media and everything, how people react to police officers, and it's like, all right, I see this, but I have my dad at home and he's a police officer, but he's a regular dude. He's like, listen to it's kind of like you get to see both sides of it. So I had at a young age I was like, nah, I would never do that, especially since people would ask, your father's a police officer, you gonna be no, I'm not gonna do no damn police officer. Just because people would ask me so much, not because I think that turned into me not wanting anybody to be a police officer or myself. But being older and understanding how things work, you have to see that you need people in power to change anything, or you at least need people to come together. and that's the hardest shit to do unless it's a Mayweather fight or something going on. So I just like not the maturity, but how things. It's just funny how things change. It is really ironic.
Yeah, I think I pulled that out of you for one reason, because I really want there to be understanding. Like, these people are fathers. These people are cousins.
It's a job, bro.
Yeah.
These people are people.
Yeah.
And so,
at the end of the day, we still got our life.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean because our title is I'm gonna say this. When I'm at work, yeah, I'm a police officer. When I'm off work, I'm father. I'm husband. And so that's a job itself.
Yeah.
You know, got another one on the way, so that's a whole nother job.
Congratulations on that.
That's a whole entire another job. So we still have our life. We just can't let this title take control of part of our personal life. At the end of the day, we still have to take care of home. At the end of the day, that's just that. Because some people, when they get that title, especially like when you was talking about the athlete, because he in the NFL, he still have to do what he did, you know, or he's retired.
That video crazy.
Yeah, just like us, when we going home after work, we citizens. We driving home. We still can get pulled over. Most officers will give another officer a ticket because we're an officer. It don't matter if you pull out your credentials. Oh, I'm a police officer such and such. I recommend nobody do that. Just be normal. Just you know, because sometimes he might, if he was in his full uniform, it probably would have been a different story. If he would have seen him in full uniform, the whole oh man, you on your way to work, or you just getting off of work. You know, I'm just getting off work. I'm just trying to get home. Oh, okay. Well, drive. Hey, slow it down a little bit. Drive safe. It would have been different, you know. But at the end of the day, we still have to abide by the law. This means, you know, people say, "Oh, y'all police officers, y'all can still speed." No, we all speed. You know, what's the speed limit? 65, right? So if you go 66, what you just did? And that's another thing people don't get, you know.
I'm gonna ask this. I feel like we're getting close to wrapping up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this, and I think that's probably a good, maybe, I think, how do you guys balance, I kind of asked you earlier, morality and legality? Like, what's that conflict like for y'all? Because, like, morally, you may not done anything wrong, but speeding is, you know, how does that work for y'all? Come on, somebody hit me.
To me,
I've asked you this before.
To me, it's like hand in hand. You know where that morality and legality like hit. You know that threshold. Like me, I'm not gonna go out and do anything that's like just wrong. Like, oh yeah, that's illegal. But but it's, I don't know, if you're doing something. To me, if you're doing something and you're in that act and you feel like there's something tugging on you, like there's something like, should I do this? If you ever have to second guess yourself or wonder, am I doing the right thing? You're wrong. You're not doing the right thing. Like they talk about all the time, like, hey, you pull over somebody, they got $1 million in the trunk. Like, what are you doing? Turning in $1 million. Like, if I
it's your training day.
Like, once you like second guess yourself, or once you think about, like, if you're thinking about what you're doing at that point, not like, okay, what's the next step? Like, all right, I have to do this. But if you think about, okay, am I really about to do this? I think that's when it's wrong. That's when you cross your moral threshold. It's like, okay, now this is wrong.
And when I asked that question, I was more so aiming as far as the arresting somebody or writing that ticket, or
like, what you mean, like discretion, or
I guess that's sort of discretion. It's that discretion of, is it balancing the legality and your morality? That word?
When discretion
is,
to me, when discretion becomes into play, like, that's all morality. It's not legality. I mean, yeah, like, should I write this dude a ticket? I mean, you can. It's legal to. Are you going to? Like,
that's
yeah.
Okay.
What's the lesson? There was this explanation.
Yeah.
Did it suffice the question you asked? Is there urgency? Is there emergency you're headed to? You know, if it's legality, you got to write the ticket.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, someone's always watching. So it's just do the right thing.
Yeah.
In today's technology, someone's always watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And would you do it for the next person?
Is that annoying that somebody's always watching?
No, I love it.
Mike.
No, I love it. I don't care if there's a camera on every corner. I mean, I'm at the age of my career to where I got this thing figured out. Do the right thing, and just do the right thing all the time. And you don't have anything to worry about. I mean, people worry about red light cameras and cameras at stop signs. Who cares? Do the right thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's an explanation for everything, you know. At the end of the day, if you know you're about to come up and the light turn yellow on you, you got a car behind you. Either you're going to run it or let the car hit you.
Is that a good excuse?
And so, but at the end of the day, like he said, somebody's always watching. So the officer, it could be one of those things where he would maybe typing up a report and looking this way, you know, we always observe. By the time he look good, he look up at the red light and he see a car going through. Okay, well, what am I gonna put? Let me see the reason why did he do it. Oh, well, there was a car behind me and the light just turned yellow, so I couldn't just stop because then you would be working an accident. So,
Yeah.
Understandable.
Hey, don't use that.
Understandable.
Somebody like, y'all be responsible.
But at the end of the day, what I'm saying,
Be responsible.
but that's the whole point of, you know, body cams, cameras. It's like you say, somebody's always watching. So our camera is always watching. So if I see it, and if my camera seen it, okay, we're gonna look at it. I'm gonna review the video.
All right, so I'm gonna ask the gentleman here: do we have all our I's dotted? Any our T's crossed? How do y'all feel? Y'all, any question y'all thought was gonna come up that hadn't came up? Somebody want to ignite a flame?
No, I got everything.
It's fourth quarter.
It is the fourth quarter. It is. Well,
Victory formation, huh?
Right.
Yeah, the biggest thing is before we start rolling, he had made a comment about, you know, he might be able to do something later in a certain.
we were here for so long. We had some great content, and I appreciate y'all for bearing with us.
He made a statement. He said, "I'm me," right? And I think that actually really plays to something like for people watching this is that, like you said, when you get off work, you're a dad. You know, you're probably a dad or you're married.
Yeah.
You know, you're
22 years.
I know who you are. Like, it's like I think that's something that before this conversation, I know John, so it's like, Officer Cody. It's like I always, like I said, I had that fear, but just to know and have it and sit down and talk, and you said like I'm me. Like I'm still me.
I'm still saying it.
Yeah, like I think that people knowing that, like I think will help bridge the gap of like all the tension from, hey, you just a cop, you just a cop, you just your badge, you just your guns, you just all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that's gonna come from it is that you.
And that's all I wanted. I didn't want nothing else. We not finna sing "We Are the World." None of that. I just wanted people like, hey, these three guys, they happen to be cops. You know, if I died tomorrow and they said, yeah, that's Jace, he got a podcast, I failed. If something happened, forbid, I don't got no words, so I ain't gonna say it, but you know where I'm going.
Right.
And all they got to say is he was a cop.
Right.
And
You
then
failed.
what? You fail. Like that's. So I think it's all our duty, and I love the fact that you said that it was your obligation to come and sit down with us, and you suited and booted, and we hot, and you were so patient, and so I'm beyond grateful. I'm grateful for our two guys back there. I'm grateful for the three guys who in front of the camera. I think that's all I got, man.
I'm gonna say this too before we get off.
All right.
I ain't trying to have the last word. Seeing DJ Lincoln, you know, all three of us go way back from high school. For sure. For see y'all to do something like this.
Hey, you want to clap for us too? No. Okay. This is Jasmine. He spent some time in Cleveland,
This is what I like to see because, as you know, Clown Force produce a lot of good talent out there. You got some guys that's teachers. You got people that's doing music careers, and we all laugh about it. We used to talk about it, but some people that I never that are rappers now. I was like, wow, like he a rapper down here. I'm still waiting for D Green to come out with an album or something. So yeah,
they are pretty bad if you ask me.
But now, other than that, man, I really appreciate what y'all doing for the community, because at the end of the day, we here for talking about police officers, but also you got to talk about the people that's brought us here and what they trying to do and what they trying to set their goals. Like we have goals, y'all have goals too. So man, I applaud y'all on doing good things. I wish y'all the best on this show. I'm just not hoping just to do this one time, but I'm hoping to come back and we can talk about some, a different subject. It just don't have to be about police officers, but I'm pretty sure these other two gentlemen can say the same thing.
He already gave me that.
So at the end of the day, what y'all doing is good and positive, because we could be doing other things right now.
And I'm glad that you said that. I accept that humbly as I can. And yeah, I think for me, what we're trying to accomplish, what's understood don't need to be explained a lot of times. But you do kind of have to put sugar in the medicine every now and then. Yep. And that's what we do it, Yeah. That's it. Some people need the airplane. I'm a pilot, But I think certain topics, like I was said earlier before we started, and I keep saying before we started, but it's not necessarily barbershop talk that we're doing. It's the conversations I wish took place in a barbershop, Yeah. And I feel like, with OETKB, we old enough to know better. That's the whole premise of what we doing. And it gotta, we just in that transition. And I feel like me, myself, as well as others, and I think we all the same age. So I think it's easy for you to get the big picture and be supportive of it. And at this very moment, not a single podcast is released. So I'm honored that you guys had the faith and saw what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna take that as a challenge that you holding us to a standard. I gonna try my damnness not to let y'all down, and we gonna do what it do. So with that being said, it's the OETKB podcast. We old enough to know better, and old enough. Wait, what are we? And we out.
Second straight time we messed up.